Hey everybody, this is Chad Warren. Hope you're doing well. It is Saturday, March 7th, 12:26 p.m. Central Time. We're going to focus on a video, some info pertaining to Mike and the Mechanics, the 80s band. Can you hear me? Can you hear me running? Wow. Like, mind blow because, I mean, I've totally forgot about Mike and the Mechanics. I probably remember the Fabulous Thunderbirds more than I remember them, which is ridiculous because, I mean, I lived through that time period and I was never afraid to like pop music back when, it was very cliquish. Were you goth? Were you punk? Later came grunge and all that. But, I guess I really like a lot of the music of Mike and the Mechanics, who was connected to Genesis, evidently. So, this is both a celebration of pop music from the 80s, and in that regard, I'll introduce you to a new favorite entertainment source of mine, the professor of rock, Adam Reeder, out of Utah. He's got the glasses and the hat and the bowling shirt right there. Let's see what he's got here. Oh, this is Origins, Jason Mraz, Peter McGuinn Before the Birds. I don't know who Tessa Violet is. Bad Ideas. Josie Dunn. This record label literally saved lives. What is that? Kurt Cobain, an alternative rock hero. Best 80s cheating songs. Wait, Toto isn't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? 5 forgotten 80s songs you have to hear. So, yeah. Uh, I definitely feel the vibe there of like, the 80s was just commercial silliness, and it was understood at the time, I think. But that's what was fun in retrospect, because now it's just a mathematical fact that music is not as big of a deal. And I was up at the Town Pump bar in Little Rock a month ago or so, and I was sat at the bar. I don't usually go out, but was talking to some lawyer folks, and they're like, man, this place is like overrun by young people. And another guy from over at Zach's Place, which is a cool old school sports bar. You got darts, pool tables, trivia on the boxes, karaoke. That a guy told me to go check out. They had real hot karaoke night on Fridays, and so I did, and it was really overrun by younger people. Uh, and almost every song they sang was from the '90s or before. I mean, Strawberry Fields Forever, like old stuff. So that's a fact. My son, he's 10. I got him a little Crossley record player, and he wants a Walkman, Guardians of the Galaxy, and all those influences. So I just sent a little message to Adam telling him about this. And number one, we're focusing on how awesome all this is if you love pop music. And if you're like me and you look into all this conspiracy, occult research about the Masons and Lucifer running the world, and and what the Bible says about today and all that kind of jazz. I mean, think about it. Is that really fun for these people like me to do that? You know what I mean? Like, it's not. It's not. It's something that I respect. There's enough going on in that topic that it's worth paying attention to. But we, more than anybody, have to enjoy each and every day. Number one, to live, to express the Christ within us, to be thankful for this life, and to have a good time. So, yeah, check out Professor of Rock, would you? And tell him Chad Warren sent you. Okay, so this song that I certainly remembered as it played, but I didn't know it by the name. Take the children and yourself and hide out in the cellar. By now the fighting will be close at hand. Don't believe the church and state in everything they tell you. Believe in me, I'm with the high command. Can you hear me? Can you hear me running? Can you hear me running? Can you hear me calling you? Watch the video. It's crazy. I don't remember the video at all. This video I'm talking about, let's find that. Silent running on dangerous ground, the extended version, 15 minutes. It's got 3 different videos tied into one. I mean, this is just huge about the connection between YouTube of today, the ability to look back at this whole history of entertainment, and as well as the kind of fringe discussions like this one. That's beautiful that that's still able to occur despite all this censorship that's increasing. But I bet this didn't play that often on MTV, at least not all together, in this little mini movie. Like some of that stuff is really cool looking back at it. Like Prince Under the Cherry Moon. Go watch that movie. I was blown away. That's totally watchable. I'm sure there's a lot more, artifacts of movies and music blending. But let's see. We'll watch a little. Oh, I guess I can't really watch any of this because of copyright infringement. But yeah, it's totally weird. It's got like starts off with the stars. You hear this alien sound. There's a boy looking up to the stars. He lives in a farmhouse with his mother. He is praying. Then a man comes to the door from the band, I assume, and he's has an alien voice, and it's like, you don't know me, but I knew your father, and he hands him this key, which is pretty Masonic symbol there. But and then he ends up finding this cube and opening it up, and just at the least very entertaining, but probably more. Okay, and then so let's look at who drew me to that. This guy, Montagraph. Get right with QOD, God. UCC, QRS. Okay, I never heard of this guy till today, and I heard about him from. Oh, come on! Can I not move this? This guy, Roy Potterqa, who I don't even remember. I only recently heard about that guy. But so Montagraph, I'm just going to be brief. It's like 2 hours, and it's just kind of rambling. I don't like rambling any more than anybody else, even if I'm taking forever to get to my point now. But you know, that's why it's called YouTube. It's this merger between who expressing ourselves through video production, just like people learned how to be literate and write it, and how we're illiterate, most of us, in terms of computer coding, which is ridiculous. And yeah, so it's the blend of those two worlds as everything's being fascistly smashed into this singular hive mind, Borg hive mind. But basically, the key thing that I caught was this w- warning about a possible uh, planned event that this monograph is interpreted through these videos, which is I haven't even really seen. I saw some of the stuff in the Mike and the Mechanics videos that he mentioned there. That one I showed you that has the 3 videos, but he must be mentioning other videos because he's talking about the World Trade Center or buses looking like it, and the 2015 cover of The Economist, and a bus in this video with one light out, similar to the similar one on that magazine cover. But the event is a choke canyon. It's a plane flying over. The event that you want to look out for is a choke canyon dam breaking in Texas, which is somewhere by San Antonio and Corpus Christi, on, I believe, just a couple days from now, Monday, March 9th, I believe is what he was saying. So we can, you know, uh, pay more attention to Mr. Monograph if that happens to be true. And then Roy Potterqa, who linked me to Monograph, he was discussing. I think they both were. They both were discussing new construction at the Denver airport, and I think it was speculated to be the breaking of the access to the under the tunnel system. Is what the speculation is there. And I haven't, listened to this episode. You can see on your screen of Sam Tripoli. He has the Tinfoil Hat podcast, but he appears to be the new hot show in the conspiracy world, which would have been the last one. Would have been Greg Carlwood's The Higher Side Chats, and then before that would be Freeman Fly. Freeman was on Sam Tripoli's show. That was a great episode. There was a great Jordan Maxwell. It's just kind of like I basically, feel addicted to this content, and the least I can do is make a comment about, hey, this is better than average stuff. And Sam is a comedian who I definitely would steer you away from Joe Rogan. No offense, but it's just not very intelligent, and it seems he seems like a gatekeeper for these CIA type of people. I would encourage you to go check out Sam Tripoli. Tell him Chad Warren sent you, and that's all I have to say, really. But in general, there's another guy, I can't remember his name, but he was talking about here. This one's a pretty important topic to look into to me. Coronavirus. Okay, so what if it is a controlled event, if for various purposes, but to get us used to quarantining people, like a martial law situation? he has shown a number of major media publications discussing an explosion in programs in cities to house the homeless. Now, this, we all know this has been a big problem for a long time. Why are they all of a sudden creating tiny houses and bringing out trailers, and you know what I mean? So it's, and there is discussion in the mainstream about what's going to happen if the homeless people get this coronavirus and that kind of thing. Since fecal matter is like a major way that it's spread, etc. So I would look into that topic, and please share any research, uh, whatever that you're on this video for me to look up, different videos to look up, and that kind of a thing. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Check me out at Chad Warren on YouTube, and I haven't been putting my stuff up there, but chadwarren.me online. And like, I'm trying to figure out. Another guy I'm looking at a lot is Vat City, and he's got a. Let's see if we can find that. This is slow responding. Vat City War Games. Probably can't do both there, so let's try that. I mean, I think there's so much information to consume that is it Vatican City? There's so much information to consume that I don't really, see the need to have my own channel. If I do find these research paths, maybe I'll get more into it like that. But I'm more interested in combining. Seriously, how do I find this guy? I'm more interested in organizing the audience of these shows. Vat City War Games. He's got a series on war games, which is interesting. But it's all about that. These movies are definitely made in connection with. Man, that bugs me. Are made, in connection with the military. Hollywood and the military are connected. Let's see. Robert Phoenix, I've been checking his show out. He had a good episode last week. I can't remember. Okay. It may have been a little while since I watched his show, but because it's hard for me to find it, I want to find it. Well, this is annoying. It may be too far back for me to. This guy I've been listening to, Schism 206. He's like a really good researcher and video maker. He has explored occult topics and now is coming back to a Catholic perspective. But he does, his point about questioning, okay, maybe the Orthodox Church and religion is bad, but so is the liberal Enlightenment. We all see the political correctness where it's gone too far. There's an obvious split in the Democratic Party. Obviously, there's no way I would imagine that they're going to win this election. So we can use that as an opportunity to promote what I call the radical middle, which is for, as things become more chaotic, the fringe folk should be, more in a position to help shape our popular uh, culture and to unify us and to stop these left-right divides and all these polarities. But to question, I'm interested in Gnostic stuff, but I don't. I'm just as critical of this whole YouTube truther world as I am Hollywood. So I agree with him about that. Well, Vatican City, Vat City, War Games. I'm not seeing how to find. Here we go. Vat underscore city.
Okay. So I want to.
Okay, let's look at his stuff here. Oh, I hadn't heard this one. The Holy Grail. Why and why not? The Why Machine. He now. Okay, so he is big into simulation theory, which I wanted to ask him about this, but somebody made a comment and it got me to thinking as well. I certainly value the concept of simulation theory, which is hard to really. My initial thought about that is like, what's the difference? Why is that this new phrase? I mean, isn't that just being alive? Like, this whole thing is a classroom, if it's anything, a spiritual classroom. But just like how you take drugs or alcohol or whatever, the way that it works is that it's retarding your abilities. It's narrowing your view, which gives you this different perspective. So if we are this infinite perfection connected to source in heaven, then our life here is based on governing, reducing our bandwidth that we can experience. So the problem with the simulation point of view is that is a material biased point of view, uh, which you're seeing material bias from Satanism, you see it from science, you see it from government. You know what I mean? Like, and I myself, I just, as interested as I am in spiritual topics, I mean, I'm like, what is this really? How does this helping anything? You know what I mean? So I understand that feeling, but I do understand that it's like me doing this video. I think that it is possible to affect things in this manner because really the world is controlled by spiritual, immaterial concepts. And that's where you get this battle where you have the intelligentsia, the control class, the master class. They see us, I forgot who was saying this, but that we are just information to them, let alone all these computers. So, obviously we're raised as a livestock just as we raise plants and animals to consume. And so I disagree with, but I can understand their perspective, that it's all just something to manage as a resource. So that's the thing I would want to avoid is agreeing with that idea. Um, you know, in connection with simulation theory. Although I definitely think that all these codes and that the spiritual world we're connected with through art, through symbology. So, because like what I notice is like I went to a bar last night, a couple of them, and it's just lame. It's like, is it just me, or like how limited are your choices of going out into the real world? Like, okay, gardening here at the house, that would be worthwhile. I would like to connect with all kinds of people doing all kinds of things, but how do you do that? Maybe a meetup group. We could go hiking, or I could make a meetup group. That's a possibility. But the given options of, well, you can go to church and you can go to a bar, you can go to the movies, you can go to a restaurant, you can go to a Dungeons and Dragons gaming place. I mean, God, I want so bad to create a hangout for us fringe folk. Help me do that. All right. Anyway, Vatican City's another quality player, and like I was saying, I'm really more trying to organize this uh, alternative media community so that we become more action oriented, and I think creating music and entertainment programming is a great place to start. We have all of this self-publication technology, but people need direction, and I would like to direct them and help be a part of some bigger productions. Like, why complain about Star Wars and all this content being too politically correct? We can just make our own movies. We can work on them together. We can fund them together. So that we are developing a cooperative business model. This isn't going to work where everybody's got these different YouTube channels. We need to connect that. So if you can help me help make that happen, I would appreciate it. I would appreciate my channel and other channels being like a one-stop shop to find a variety of programming, not just all this conspiracy stuff, but I would like there to be a caveat that at the end of every video it had an action step. You could go out, you know, there's evidently a radio controlled flying group down the block, and I saw a YouTube video today about some $100 airplane that's cheap and you can fly it. Why not connect the two? That's what all of this is. I do all that Google Maps local guide stuff, taking reviewing restaurants and parks and stuff like that. We need to just be a decentralized intelligence agency. We are the enemies of ourselves more than these rich, powerful people. We really just have to make that not some spiritual concept, but make it a daily reality that no, we're way stronger than all that if we are connected in Father Christ and Mother Nature. So that's it. Let me know what you think. Thank you.